Welcome back to episode 13. What are you doing here? Taehyung asked. Jungkook sank in the seat, staring up and pushed ceiling of the car. There was an empty silence for a moment before Jungkook glanced disbelievingly at the window. Jungkook said, running a hand down his face. Why did you leave like that? Jungkook asked back. Already told you, Taehyung answered, avoiding as he stared out of the window. Jungkook stared at his facial profile before reaching into his pocket and relieving a cell phone. After punching in the desired number, Jungkook held it up to his ear. Yeah, this is Jungkook. I am in need of a room tonight, a private one. Taehyung looked over his shoulder curiously. Yes, everything too. Thanks. Thank you very much, Uncle said, snapping his phone shut. Are we going somewhere? They asked. Yes, we are, because I don't want my father finding me for tonight, Jungkook said, shoving his cell in his pocket. What the heck happened there? Taehyung asked, turning towards the bonnet. Jungkook raised an eyebrow. I'm still waiting for an answer from you. When Taehyung stayed quiet, Jungkook poured himself into another glass of champagne before turning on the intercom system. Simon, I need you to take us to the Diamond Nightclub. Now, this is what I call relaxation, Taehyung remarked, looking at the in hallway content as he slumbered himself neck deep in warm water. He lazily slept, his eyes open to stare at the lush gardens just outside, briefly glancing over the nearby sliding door leading inside, where Jungkook was still scrubbing himself with soap. Taehyung tried to gather his thoughts. Not many words had been exchanged between the two of them on their way to the jacuzzi. Both lost in thought, Taehyung was grateful for the downtime. It provided him a moment to gather his thoughts in peace. Though no conclusion was made, Taehyung still wasn't sure exactly how he felt about the whole situation. Sure, he would heard that Jungkook's client name was Bugam before, but Taehyung hadn't even dreamed him to be that Bugam. What were the odds? The door slid open, breaking Taehyung's train of thoughts, and Jungkook stepped out. Taehyung admired the bare body until it disappeared within the water, sending small waves on Taehyung's chin. You look comfortable, Jungkook said lightly, rolling his shoulder. The water felt wonderfully cozy. Feels nice, Taehyung mumbled, closing his eyes. Though I hope you know you can't run from your father forever. Thank you for reminder, Jungkook replied dryly, resting his elbow on the dry surface. He knew it to be true, but the idea of coming here was not. Think about the stuff. When the heck had this guy become the voice of the region anyway? Well, I had since the day Jungkook met Taehyung. Actually, Jungkook frowned at the thought, trying to convince himself that it was voice of unrealistic idea. Instead, this is your fault, you know. Taehyung's eyes snapped open at Jungkook's words. My fault? Taehyung asked in shock. Yeah, if I wouldn't worried about your running off, I might not have the gut to tell Bugam my father's true intentions. Taehyung was taken back at the idea of Jungkook worried about him, but didn't voice it. True intentions? They asked again. Jungkook sighed, staring blankly at the water. Bugam is having financial difficulties right now, and all my father wants to do is kick him while he is down. He planned on selling Bugam's part of company off once he merged with us. Little part of the contract in extremely fine print. It's something my father prided himself in. One Bugam of the of this night against my better judgment. Jungkook explained widely, remembering the scene that had just occurred in the Seoul Beauty. Jungkook felt like a coward for rushing out like that, not even taking the time to wait for a response. Taehyung tried to soak the new information in with some difficulty. What do you think your father is going to do? Jungkook gave him a very smile. I have no idea. I am hoping my disappearance will give him time to calm down. Not likely though. Taehyung knew this was a serious situation. He almost felt bad considering he was somewhat behind this newfound courage within Jungkook to stand up to his father. They they would throw so many words around, and sure he meant even one of them. He hated seeing Jungkook so overworked and controlled. Taehyung would literally choose his current occupation than to be subjected to that. But at that same time, Taehyung had to make sure himself realized that this was messing with Jungkook's family, his career, his life. He could tell Jungkook was a proud man. It wasn't something that could so easily be let go. Taehyung knew of that situation all well too. I don't think your decision was against better judgment. Seems like the right thing to do. Maybe the right thing. No, morally, not for business, Uncle commented, staring off into the distance with a slight trace on his frown on his lips. I really do let my emotions get in the way too much. Tangentially chewed on his bottom lip, wanting to tell Jungkook that it was better that way, but knew his words would be nothing but trouble the burners at the moment. And then Taehyung had another urge that which made him hold down just a little harder before he opened his mouth. Well, thank you, Taehyung said quietly, looking away when brown eyes found his own. What? For helping Bugam? Jungkook's eyebrows shot up. Bugam came to think of it. Taehyung had to run out right after Bugam's location had been revealed. Do you know Bugam? Jungkook asked slowly, perplexed by his own question. How would someone like Taehyung know someone like Bugam unless wait no? Taehyung couldn't have been Bugam's client. Bugam was a wealthy man who surely had exorbitant properties like himself, so Taehyung wouldn't have been so excited to be exposed to those things if Bugam had taken him in beforehand. Yeah, used to. Taehyung troll dripping down further into the water. Any further, he wouldn't be able to talk without water running his mouth. The light steam dripping off the surface did nothing to shield the very gleams on his lips, and with the loose shrug, Taehyung exclaimed deeply, "Run away from home for him." After all, Jungkook did not understand right away. It took a few seconds of unmoving silence, of images of things on the piano to come back to him, and the confession that day returning to hit Jungkook upside the head. Jungkook's jaw nearly dropped over open Taehyung's lover Bugam. How is that even possible? Jungkook continued, his mind too confused to continue out loud. Taehyung abruptly rose his upper body out of water, copying Jungkook's pose by placing his elbow on the outer rim of jacuzzi. Bugam did just start his career back then. He get married and get his big break. Kind of funny to hear he is having financial difficulties now. Jungkook's brows frowned. Taehyung was being rather flippant about this, putting off an air of indifference. The fact, Taehyung hadn't made his eyes throughout the words he said otherwise. Are you telling me Bugam was the guy you loved? Taehyung's eyes flickered before he rolled his head back. Ah, Taehyung sighed into air. He righted his head and waved a hand in air before continuing. That was so long back, Ego. Jungkook's lips pulled themselves back into a frown. Sorry, I put you in that situation, Jungkook said. Like you know, Taehyung remarked with a light smile, finally looking at Jungkook when the frown on the other man's face did not disappear. Taehyung insisted, it's fine, you have enough to worry about, they said. Jungkook mentally agreed wholeheartedly. However, that did not mean concern from Taehyung was going to be sewed back behind it all. Taehyung determined with this was getting awkward again. No wonder people in this profession warned him about getting personal. It was alarming to not be in control, to offer more than a service. It was even more alarming that despite the uncomfortable aftermath, Taehyung continued to do it, yearning for that familiarity. Taehyung elegantly pulled himself off the edge and waded over towards Jungkook. Jungkook watched with interest, did as Taehyung placed wet hands on his shoulder and wrapped his skinny legs loosely around his torso. This, Taehyung said, poking a finger in between Jungkook's eyebrows, is going to look like a box face when you are an old man due to all of your worrying. Jungkook snorted, running his hand down Taehyung's side until they rested on his hip. Going to die before you even get told. Saying comments like that, Taehyung gasped dramatically, a threat of murder, calling off work, rather rated out your father. Taehyung listed with a grin, one hand settling on the back of Jungkook's neck, fingers gently stroking the skin. Such a bad boy. He truly was set to tease without any undertone. But just knowing it came from Taehyung's lips made Jungkook blush. Taking in a vow, Jungkook added to the list, making Taehyung grin grow wider. Jungkook's thumb made soft circle on Taehyung's as the older was one smile, but even though it was troublesome, I can't seem to bring myself to regret any of it. Taehyung's heart skipped a beat. Well, who could regret me? Taehyung exclaimed egoistically, making Jungkook roll his eyes after a moment's hesitation. Taehyung leaned forward and gave a small kiss to the strong jaw in front of him, looking up and seeing no restraint in Jungkook's gaze. In fact, the eyes staring at Taehyung were making him warmer than the hot spring. Taehyung continued to prepare Jungkook's neck with kisses. It wasn't until those light kisses turned into heated tasted that Jungkook acted warm, wrapping his arm around the smaller beauty. Jungkook hugged Taehyung tightly to his chest and stood up. Taehyung quickly lunged onto him, weightlessly lifted into the air, looking down at the feet that were moving away from the hot stream cursingly. His body shivered slightly from the change in temperature. Jungkook, we weren't in there very long, Taehyung spoke, and the beginning of a pout on his face as he attempts to mold his body into Jungkook's for warmth. Can't dirty the spring water, Jungkook replied, one arm hugging Taehyung's middle while the other opened the slide door with a cherished green light cream. Taehyung leaned down to talk in his ear. Are you admitting something definitely would have happened? Taehyung whispered, eyes twinkling with mirth. With a glance, Taehyung drew back to look at his face. Confidence is hard. Jungkook is stopped by the small shelf with basket of towels and two clean, neatly pressed bathrobes. Well, I'm confident, Jungkook began, letting Taehyung's feet slide down to the floor. That you are going to love the food here. Jungkook launched the words so smoothly. Food, Taehyung repeated, instant picket edge. They toweled themselves off. I told you, I told them to serve it at 7:30. You will see, Jungkook promised, grabbing both bathrobes and tossed one to Taehyung. The younger one slipped his arms inside and tied the front before following Jungkook back to their private room. Sure enough, they were an elaborate meal set on the top of the elongated table inside. Streaming liquid, colorful fruits, blowing bowls of rice, assortments of sushi and seafood. Taehyung felt his mouth water from just looking at all. Can't be this, Taehyung exclaimed, popping down on the floor and sliding his legs beneath the blanket. Hey, this isn't on. Jungkook clenched, sitting on the opposite side. It's not really that cold in here. Your point. I plan to take full advantage of this week, thank you, and I am going to have a warm table. Taehyung proclaimed, proving his word by turning it on. Jungkook turned a smile, just a smile. They didn't bring any sugar, Jungkook said, disappointed as he looked over things again. What the heck do you need sugar for? They asked. Matty, Jungkook said simply, for being so rich and dull. You sure don't have refined tastes, they commented. Jungkook glared at him. You don't even know what refined tastes are. Is that a challenge? Taehyung asked, straightening. Okay, hot sauce was the most expensive food on this table right now? They asked. Jungkook raised an eyebrow, looking at the variety of food. Probably the blue crab, Jungkook guessed, pointing at the pink and white slabs of meat on the one of the smaller plates. Taehyung quickly snatched up a piece, observing the decorative line on the meat before taking a rather generous hold. See, I love it, Taehyung said rather quickly, with his mouth still full. As the tender meat melted onto his tongue, his eyes grew wide, and he stared at what was left in his hand. This is amazing. You are going to say you like it whether you did or not, just to prove me wrong, Jungkook said. This is very true. However, this is the best thing I have ever tasted in my life, Taehyung exclaimed, popping the rest into his mouth. He wondered how expensive it really was, because it would be sad thing to only have this magnificent meat once. You are taking me to have this again? They asked. Oh, am I? Jungkook asked with a grin. It made Taehyung pause and lightly curse. He did it again, asked something of his client. Throwing at his mistake, Taehyung split a pair of chopsticks and grabbed a bowl of rice occupying his mouth. Well, with an elbow on his table and head rested in his palm, Jungkook paused, foregoing the delicious meat in his front of him to observe Taehyung eating well. and trying new things. He didn't even comment when Taehyung took every piece of blue crab for himself. Taehyung, Jungkook called him. Taehyung hummed with a cheek full. Jungkook glanced before a more serious look settled on his features. He dragged his elbow out of the table and sat up. Do you ever plan on going back to your family? To be continued. It's going to be thanks answer and what is going to happen next. We will see it all tomorrow. Okay, so I want to say this that yeah, it is inspired from Pretty Woman as a lot of you mentioned it in the comment section. I also mentioned it in one of the comment section. I don't remember where, but I have accepted it. Okay, I hope you will enjoy it, and thanks a lot for liking it. Bye bye.